Hello and welcome everyone to my presentation. Please, eyes towards me and pay close attention. Now, I only spoke a few sentences, but you could guess how much I communicated with that. Take a guess, any number. What was part of the techniques and messages, body language and wording that I used to use? Any number?
Different number?
The number of things I included here to communicate. Techniques, body language, yeah? Five, which is actually correct.
So, did it once again.
So what were the five, please?
Okay, just guess.
Okay, you just guess. Okay, so
Voice, gesture.
exactly. So once is taking a step forward to the audience, because that will attract some interest. Making eye contact and looking for you into the camera is the second one. The third one is open gesture. And the bigger the audience, the more you accelerate these gestures. So if you're in a meeting room with 5 persons, this looks silly. If you're in a room like this looks okay. And if you're on a stage, you can do this without any problem, and it's going to be look very fine. Now, that was the third one. What was the fourth? Actually, you said it. Voice, clear and loud. But what was the fifth?
You've been asking us to look at you, so
Yeah, exactly.
give the full attention to you.
Exactly, but the way I was asking it is something that is very, very powerful, because I just was not pleasing, please look at me, pay attention. It was using a technique to combine 2 requests at once. And if you do that, likability that people will actually do what you want them to do, it's becoming higher. So if I would ask someone to come up front and you would all sit, I could just ask, hey, can you please join me on stage? If you do that, there's quite a 50% people just saying, no, I'm not doing that. If you do that and just say, please stand up and join me on stage, which is silly because you have to stand up anyways to come here. But if you just rephrase it a bit, this has an impact on people. So please pay attention, eyes towards me. You cannot pay attention if the eyes are not towards me. So that's just one of the minor things I want to talk about today. To become a performer, to be a better presenter. And what is a performer? Performer can be musician, can be comedian, can be magician, can be anyone. But in general, they're using these tools here in order to achieve the storytelling. We already had a presentation about very good storytelling, and that was mainly sort of about scripting, visualizing, picturing, and how to especially do that online. So please check that out. That's the How to Sell Stories Online Fast presentation. I got it right, yes. And I won't actually tell too much about that because we had already a good presentation. What I want to talk about is body language, which includes footwork, gestures, mimics, voice control, which is the tonality, pitch, wording, which I already explained in a small way, and also knowledge and experience, which comes by nature. The more you do it, the better you get. And also there I have some tricks and tips for you in order to perform better, present better. Now, question is, what do you think these characters have all in common?
They're evil.
No. MacGyver is not evil. I insist on that one. And so is, okay, Sherlock is questionable, but still, MacGyver is not evil. And they are planning in advance. They are plotters. They have every time a plan for everything, right? This is what have they all in common. And this is what you should do if you're doing a good presentation. You should know your outs. And that means you have to prepare. The more you prepare, the better you can present. Because on every action of your audience, you can react. And you can react in a very cool and calm way. So it's not like you're looking to make things up or your inspiration is coming from somewhere and you just speak. No, you have to go with a decision tree, which means if a decision is taken, you are automatically knowing what you should ask, what you should say next in order to guide the next part of the conversation into a certain direction. And we will do an experiment here with some of you, just to see how this can become eventually to an outcome you already wanted from the very beginning, which is why I have here this little piece of paper where something is written on it. So it might fail, but if not, you are witnessing a miracle where I'd force you to take a decision and you were ideally thinking that was all free choice. Okay, so stay tuned. Now for presenting, and this is why presenting is not just having cool slides. It is cool and it is important, but still you have to be very focused on your words. So what that does mean is when you prepare any text, you talk first to rubber duck or to your hand or in front of a mirror, just to see if you can talk freely. Is if you're just, just standing like that, talking, or you're doing that. All these kind of things are examples you would see eventually at some point, but are not very good practices, because this is a stable practice. You all know that, right? So you can always go back to that one and it would help. But still, talk to someone, something, it helps dramatically to just speak out the words loud, especially if you're not speaking in your native language. Now, communicate. The thing is, what you say is not as important as how you say it with the voice you're using, and the content is the less important thing, actually. So in general, for voice and to use your voice, there are two major things you can do. You can push, which is, I'm going to tell you a secret right now about the body language, and here, pay attention, this is very important. Or you can pull, which is slightly changing the tonality. I will actually tell you a secret, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going lower with the voice, and yet this pulls attention because people are like, oh, he's telling something interesting, right? So this is how you're working with pulling and pushing attention, and by that directing also a flow in the conversation. So it's not just like an annoying advertisement. I'm just, yeah, you see. You can see that actually in commercials from the US. They're very annoying if you look at them because they are hyper accelerating everything. And you don't want to do that. Maybe if you are in the US, but otherwise pull. That's another tip. Interact. So first experiment. I don't need anyone here, so it's just me looking embarrassing now. But I want everyone to do, and also you on the screen, no matter if you're sitting or standing, it's okay. I want you to put your right foot a bit up and just turn it clockwise. Oh, sorry, anti-clockwise. Now I want you to point out with your right arm towards me, and I want you to draw a 6 now. And some of you will notice the direction that your foot is doing eventually changed. Some are doing great, some are not. This is just something which has to do about coordination. So that is when you can train everything. Coordination, body language, movement. If you are looking at very stage performance and it looks like they're doing random stuff, no, it's a choreography. It's like a dance. It's like every step is planned and every movement has a meaning. Because what you don't want to do is, do this kind of thing. And I'm guilty of that as well sometimes. That I'm shifting. Right? Shifting is
Shifting weight.
Exactly. Shifting weight is it calms you down, but at the same time it makes everyone else nervous. So another experiment, actually. I would like to ask everyone, also again, for the camera, does not matter if you stand or if you're sitting, to put your right arm. So just do as I say, right? Just do as I say. put your right arm vertical to the floor. And then you would recognize vertical, this is horizontal, right? So do as I say, not do as I do. Exactly, like this, like this. This is vertical, this is horizontal. What happened now was, what you see is more important than what you hear. That was a perfect little experiment on how we all react. And then group dynamics comes in place on top, which means you're basically like, am I doing that right? Yeah, he's doing it. So I do the same, right? So this is also a way how you control a bit on how people react and how people do certain things and how people decide on something. Influence. Now, if you combine the outs with the planning, the wording, and everything else, that means you might be able to influence people. And we're going to do another experiment just now, just to prove how effective this can be. Yes. Yes, could you please join me? Applause.
Hello.
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 Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So we're going to do an experiment, and I want you to tell me what I have in my hand.
Money.
Money. How is that? Coins, eventually?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. It's coins,
Oh, yeah.
right? So you can clearly see the coins. And just guessing, how much do I have?
I would say $10.
$10? Not quite. I have 6 coins. 6 coins. So let me just. Okay. Yeah. So I have here 3 coins, which is a group of 1 cent, 10 cent, and a euro. 1, 10, 1. Right? I have here a group of 2 cent, 20 cent, and 2 euro. I'm going to give you one. Which one would you want?
I would go with the 1 cent.
With the 1 cent.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Because I have enough money anyway.
Okay. Exactly. That's perfect. So that means we have here.
Yeah.
We have here 2 cents, 20 cents, and 2 euro. And we have an invisible table here in front of us, right? So I'm just placing them. And we just mix it. You know what? Please, just go ahead, mix them.
Okay.
And she's actually doing that, right? That's already some influence.
Like a DJ.
Yeah, exactly. Glenn. Very good, very good.
Finished. Yeah.
Now, could you just pick 2 of them and hold them like that?
I cannot decide.
Yeah, just take your time, take your
Okay.
time, it's all good.
All right.
So these 2 coins, right?
Can you switch?
Okay. Very good. So that's the imagination. You would hold the coin like that. Okay, very good. Now, give me one. Okay, and just for the first time, which coin did you just actually give me?
I gave you the 1 cent.
That
it
you
was-
already put in your pocket. That was
Yeah,
the
no,
true
I
one.
didn't put it in my pocket. It was in my other hand.
Very good play. But if I mean, we put the 2 cent, the 20 cent, and the 2 euro on the table. So you picked them up. So you gave me one. Which one you gave me?
Which one did you think you got?
I cannot see. I cannot see. I'm trusting you.
I gave you the 20 cents.
The 20 cents, which is very interesting, right? Because and now, if you want, you can get a bit richer just to keep your money, right? Put it in the pocket or somewhere safe, right?
Too small.
So we do have here the 20 cents,
Okay.
and every coin has basically 2 sides.
Yes.
Right. So in German, it's Kopf oder Zahl,
Kopf oder Zahl.
head or numbers. You would say. That's okay, yes, right. But 2 euro, I always prefer somehow the German. So could you just take the coin, give it a coin flip, and tell us which lands on the top?
It's number.
It's number. So it's the 20,
Yes.
which is very interesting because on this very piece, not changing anything, right? It was here the whole time. You can check the recording if you want, but you can actually see what is about to write here.
Yeah, it says 20.
20. And this is how you would direct, thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And this is how I was influencing her, because she was totally thinking everything was her choice. then she was trying, very thankful for that. She gave me a nice experience to learn from that. She was trying to heckle, which I hopefully did it in a good, managed in a good job. Probably I can improve, which is why I'm recording that, to learn from that experience. Now, if you are doing the scripting and narrating, that means you are putting both things together. The good presentation skills we have from the other presentation already, but also the narrative. So what that means is you are doing it in front of a mirror. That's good, but it's not perfect. Because perfect would be having a very bright audience. You don't always have that, especially if you're in a hotel room and you just have to prepare maybe for the next day. Use a camera. Here's why. If you have a camera, you can just speak freely. You can move freely. You would do as you were in a room with people. You can look at people. It feels more natural. And also when you look at the recording, you are looking like you will when you present on that day. If you do it in front of a mirror, you tend to freeze a bit because you have to watch what am I doing. You're too much focused on your movement and on your footwork, on your vision, which is limiting you. So try to record it just as I did now. So I can review that one later and I will take notes and I will actually say, hey, I did that. I don't want to do that. That's a bad habit. So maybe just working on getting rid of that. Okay. And that concludes my today's presentation. So thank you, everyone. Questions?
Yes. Are you using this also in your private life and your marriage? Often.
I have actually one tip with the wording. There's one word that is very, very powerful. Thorsten is not here for you. Or maybe he's looking in the camera. If you're just using the word or at the end of a sentence, it will force people eventually to agree with you. If you have guests at home and you want them to leave, you can just say, please leave. You could just say, do you like another bottle of wine or, and then you're just silent. Because what happens, they will, in their head, they will fulfill the sentence. Or want to leave. And they cannot, or they of course can, but it is harder if they have a negative association in their head to tell something that is different from that. So what should automatically happen in many cases is they would do what I want you to do. They would actually leave. No, I don't want another bottle of wine. I want actually to leave. So that's a very, do you want to go into bed? Or
no, they switched to whiskey.
Yeah.
Or just repeat what you want the other person to do, like the 20%. Probably you repeated or you mentioned the 20 more often. So when you ask her, did somebody?
Not necessarily. You do that because they are invisible.
Yeah.
So I need to repeat that mainly because everyone else should not forget we are talking about 20 cents, 20 cents, 20 cents. So if I show the paper, it's not like, what was it again? So that's why the main reason for repeating. But yes, also you can just repeating different things you want to emphasize, but do it in a not too obvious way. So, other questions?
When to know from that I would end up with the 20 cents?
He's a magician, he doesn't tell the tricks.
I cannot sleep the next night.
You're welcome.
You might want to have another bottle of wine.
Exactly.
Consider you never had a choice.
All right. So then, thank you once more. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That way.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry?
You design a customer presentation exactly that way.